Yeah, had to get a little half a fit.
Are you smoking cigars now?
I know I should be.
Apparently, they go really well with that bourbon.
Yeah. It's been fun.
He thinks so. I haven't heard.
Something good down the street.
Yeah.
When you go to Edgefield, go to the Ice House. They sell cigars. Yeah, so does the Little Red.
Get like a knife. Make sure we talk about interesting because we're getting our classes as much as anything. So we only have a don't be confident.
Right.
So what should we say now?
Take this back. In a few minutes. You'll need some people on this stage. Because I'm it's not.
Something we can talk about. It's got
Now, when I first came to Seattle, it was barely bigger than a small town. The evergreen trees growing up, good rain coming down, looked so innocent then. You would never dream to take a glance. And all those baby billionaires just waiting for their chance. Now a penny makes a nickel, makes a dime, makes a dollar, makes a kindergarten CEO wanna jump up and holler, turns a software magician with a fine and friendly face into a planetary predator with his fingers all over the place. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it Paul Allen Town. Now, Seattle was due homage, but that was Indian affairs, and so they turned him into a drinking fountain down in Pioneer Square. And the mountain was Tahoma, but that made their minds go blank. So they called it Rainier, and that became a bank, and the bank became a magnet for the money and the flash. And the mountain made of nature became a mountain made of cash, and the little baby billionaires broke out of their padded cells. And the little town got real big, and everything went to hell. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it Paul Allen Town. Now, Paul Allen made his first millions in the Microsoft days. Yeah, and then he multiplied those millions and he gave himself a raise. And he gazed out into the distance just as far as he could see. And everywhere he looked, he saw an opportunity, and he waved his wallet like a scepter and a sword. He said, "There's nothing next to God that this wallet can't afford." Move over, Mr. Yesler. Step aside and take a bow. My name is Paul Allen, this is my town now. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it Paul Allen Town. You like sports? He'll build you a stadium or two. Yeah, and he'll do it with your money too. He owns Lake Union and the EMP. He owns half the city council, but he don't own me. You want to fondle your portfolio, you have come to the right place. You like high-rise, go get yourself a condo with a happy face, with a Starbucks on every corner, and your own cash machine. Now I know what they mean when they call it evergreen. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it Paul Allen Town. say Paul Allen plays mean guitar, but I don't think that's right. I think that poor guitar is just angry because he ain't treating it right. Like some adolescent ego with his billfold overblown. He thinks he can just go out and buy himself a rock star of his own. Jimi Hendrix on his bended knees up on Broadway on the bronze. He still can't figure out what went wrong. Playing the Star-Spangled Banner in a blown-out purple haze. Now it is in a digital museum and his fans are all half crazed. We used to call it Seattle. Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle. Now we call it Paul Allen Town. Big money likes to strut around just showing off its stuff, and we're all supposed to love it. We're not supposed to call this bluff. Just buy your ticket, take your chance, and keep your place in line, and maybe they'll throw you down a few crumbs from time to time. Well, they say the road to hell is paved with all the best intentions. Hypnotized and dazzled by the latest slick inventions, like a deer in the headlights trying to catch a ride. Well, it can be a big surprise when you reach the other side. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it. We used to call it Seattle, Jewel of Puget Sound. We used to call it Seattle, now we call it Paul Allen Town. Back to the EMP recently. I don't know why that is. I had 2 gigs at the opening. They put me on this, I did like a improvisational workshop, whatever that's supposed to be, in the learning lab, or language lab, or whatever it is, audio lab, media lab, one of the labs. You know, it's like the lab rat or something. And then they also had me outdoors on this inflatable stage. I'm not making that up. It was an inflatable stage. With an air compressor going on constantly in the background that was supposedly far enough away that you wouldn't hear it, but of course you did. You know, in those moments of silence in between striking guitar chords, you know, you would hear the generator going in the background, keeping the stage up. You know, and you only kind of, the thought would cross your mind, like if there was a power failure or something, the stage would deflate. Well, this is very cool. Harry asked me to do this, and I thought, it sounds cool. It probably will be, and it is. I mean, half the time I figure anything that exists outside of the usual musical paradigm has to be interesting, you know? You know what I'm saying? Now, there are some people here that remember Old Seattle. That song was about how old Seattle got to new Seattle. It's not really Seattle anymore, I guess it is. Doesn't seem like it to me, though. I know there's people here that remember old Seattle. 70s, early 70s. I got here in 71, so that's as far back as I go. But that's old Seattle to me. And old Seattle was something. In old Seattle, way back about 1973, I used to do volunteer work a couple of mornings a week, helping out at the Black Panther Party free breakfast for school children program. Now you have to understand I'm a musician, so I don't usually get up that early in the morning. I'm not saying I wasn't awake when I was doing that, but I am saying that sometimes they're hard to remember. Getting up at 5, so I could be out there when the car comes up, I could get inside so we could be somewhere to start making food at 7 in the morning. Hello? But it's a good thing to do. Old Seattle. One of the places that we worked was Yesser Terrace Housing Project, and one morning out in front of the Yesser Terrace Housing Project, this man was walking his dog. A friend of mine says, "You go out and talk to that man, there's a song in that man." So I did. His name was Frank Grouder. Frank Grouder was an older man that live in the housing project, he lived on public assistance. He couldn't read or write, so his checks got stolen sometimes by thieves in the neighborhood. He only signed his check with an X, you understand. So my friend there, he taught Frank Grouder how to sign his name by connecting the dots, so that nobody could steal his checks anymore. Frank was from Louisiana, and all he wanted in the world was to go back home. So I figured the best thing I could do for him was to sing him at least part way there. Every day, early in the morning when the sunlight rises, cutting through the fog, footsteps softly sound around the corner. Mr. Grouder walking with his dog, coat collar up, warm against the weather, got his captain's cap riding in place. Daylight brightens and the mist is lifting, it's another new day, you can see it on his face. Going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. Never made much money in the money world. Never learned to read or to write so well. Never had a book, he couldn't read the balance, but he could see it fine just as clear as a bell. He used to work a job in the shipyard docks when years ago he was a younger man. Changes came and left him stranded and put him out of walking with time on his hand. Going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. Back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. So every day, early in the morning with his best friend Curly walking by his side, thinking about family relations way down south is a mighty long ride. Good morning, Mr. Grouder, tell me how you doing, it's a mighty fine day, but the sun's so bright. Tell me, have you got any plans for the future? Well, I'm gonna take a trip if it works out right. Going back to Louisiana one of these days when I'm able and the weather is clear. I'm going back to Louisiana one of these days, but till then I'm gonna stay right here. Until then I'm gonna stay right here. It's a tow truck? Oh, I'm disappointed. Damn it. Later. Later, maybe, if we really carry on, you know what I'm saying? Those were the days. These are the days also. They're all the days, you know. Don't ever let anybody tell you that those were the days and it's awful now. But those were interesting times, and this is another song from those times. Earlier, actually. I got here in '71, and you know, about 2 months after I got here, a month or 2 months, something like that, the last folk club in Seattle closed. It was in Fremont. It was called the DMZ, short for Demilitarized Zone, and it was run by somebody named Gordy Poe. And that's all I remember. I played there once, maybe twice, and then it closed. You know, I don't take credit for it. It had closed probably for a long time. One of the last of the folk scene here. And it was actually a good thing, for me anyway, because it allowed me to create my own territory wherever I wanted to. Like all the bands, I played all the band breaks and all the rock clubs. All the rock clubs. I played 4 or 5 of them a night. You know, I played all the cocktail bars that would allow me to come back a second time. You know, you found it really fast that they didn't like you. Somebody go up to the jukebox and put a quarter in right in the middle of the song. You know, whoops, I guess I better be moving on. You know. That sort of thing. But it was back there in '71. Anyway, I was invited to play a concert with a musician from California, a guy named Jeffrey Kane. Jeffrey Kane had been associated with the Youngbloods, and he had a bit of a following up here. And he was driving up from Marin County, from Fairfax in Marin County. And so I showed up at the venue. I did my sound check. There was no sign of Jeffrey. You know, did my sound check. There was still no sign of Jeffrey. We waited. I had to start the show late. No sign of Jeffrey Kane. So I went ahead and started playing. And, you know, I was only going to do like, I don't know, half-hour set or something. But the manager or whoever, the promoter came up and told me to play longer because Jeffrey wasn't here yet. I might have to do the whole night myself, you know, whatever. We'll have to deal with that because there was no sign of Jeffrey. Finally, I'd been up there about an hour or something, and the guy told me, okay, you can stop now. He's here. Okay, fine. So I quit and I got down. And I never knew what happened until a couple of years later. I'm about 75, I think it was, or 76, when Jeffrey and I became friends for a while there. I did some gigs with him in California. And he told me what happened that night, and this is what happened. Well, I'll tell you a story, my friend, from the Vietnam days way back when. Body counts mountain on the wall. You had to do something about it all. That's when the singer took a trip up to Washington State. It was a good day to travel on the interstate. 2 hitchhikers, all 19, traveling real light with their heads shaved clean. The singer picked him up, he had room in the car. He says, I'll take you where you're going if it's not too far. We're going up to Canada, they said it kind of slow. Seems like the place to go. Well, you can trust a stranger if you give him a chance, and there's a million stories in the sideways glance. The singer knew he had a long-range view. I'm only going to Seattle, but I'll see what I can do. Now the interstate's a long, straight, blacktop line. You can do a lot of thinking while the time unwinds. Leaving California for the evergreen land. Pretty soon the singer had a plan. Stopping for supplies like anybody might do. Get a map and a compass and a flashlight too. Canteens for water, food enough to last. Going on to Seattle, but they drive right past. Almost to the border, take the side road to the hill. Here's your map and your compass and a $20 bill. Canada's that way, it's a straight shot. Good luck and goodbye, and don't get caught. And then the singer drove away in a darkening breeze, and 2 shadows disappeared in the evergreen trees. And that's the measure of a war. Try to tip the balance just a little bit more. There when the singer came in late, muttering something about the interstate. The songs were good and the music was fine, and that's what kept us going most of the time. And that's the end of my story, my friend. From the Vietnam days way back when, about a singer on the road and the AWOL kid, how you had to do something, and that's what they did. Ontario, ladies and gentlemen. They named the breakfast cereal after him when he gets really happy. Cheerios.
Very happy.
I went to see the guru, but the guru wouldn't see me, because he was with his banker, and they were counting up the money. He had a great big house, he had acres of land. He was so enlightened, well, I could hardly stand it. But he's a love family man, and he knows what side his love is buttered on. I had to take my shoes off, it was a hardwood floor. All the women were barefoot, I wonder what for. There was a grand piano, there was a big TV, there was a picture of the guru looking down at me. He was a love family man, and he knows what side his love is buttered on. The guru came out then, and he said hello. He said he had a revelation. I said, way to go. He said he had the answers. I said, I did too. He said, oh no, you don't. I said, well, neither do you. He's a love family man, and he knows what side his love is buttered on. A little piece of rock came down one bright and shiny day to land upon this earthly ground from many million miles away. And the people from the Institute, well, they took it in their stride. They said it came from the planet Mars, and it's got life inside. And what I'd like to know is, what are you going to do now, Mr. God? Galileo was a scientist who made his matters worse when he said the earth was not the center of the universe. Oh yes it is, they said, and that's just where it's going to stay. And they arrested him for heresy and buried him away. And what I'd like to know is, what are you going to do now, Mr. God? Darwin had a thought he could not keep it to himself, that he was once a monkey and so was everybody else. Oh, but man is in the image, they said, and the image must be true. So if we were once a monkey, God was once a monkey too. Now what I'd like to know is, what are you going to do now, Mr. God? Way down in Arizona land in a sacred knitted place, and they're building them a telescope for staring into space. And the church is there to bankroll, to help and not to hurt them. Should the aliens be heathens, they'd like to be the first to convert them. And what I'd like to know is, what are you going to do now, Mr. God? Well, in matters of reality, it's always touch and go. Some would like to dam it up, and some would let the waters flow. But it's a simple calculation when the final score is in. Between the rock and the water, the water always wins. So what I'd like to know is, hey, what are you gonna do now, Mr. God? Should I wait in the room? Okay. I'm fast. You're fast. You are fast. I think he's still out there. He's getting paid by the hour, isn't he? 5 minutes. I used to live on Whidbey Island, you know, and
He's the light show.
I used to live on. Oh, he just turned it off, man. Turn it back on.
It's like a dinosaur show over again.
Yeah.
Hey, there goes my car.
Just helping somebody who doesn't lock, somebody lock their keys in the door. I like to look at it. He didn't tell anybody away, so that's a good thing.
He didn't tell anybody, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay, good. We're gonna go out there and talk to him. Anyway, I came out. I was out weeding in the yard one day. This has nothing to do with anything except it just occurred to me, and to me, this is true. I was out weeding in the yard one day, and the county truck goes by. Island County Road Crew truck goes by, you know. And what it is it's like a road grader kind of a thing. It might have even been a road grader. It's been a long time. I can't remember exactly. But it had the blade, and the blade was down in the culvert. So as I was going by, I was scooping everything out of the culvert, cleaning the culvert out, scooping it all out, bringing it up onto the road, like that. Drove on by. I watched it. I'm weeding. Okay, fine. It goes on its way. I'll come back to weeding. About 20 minutes later, a second county road crew truck comes along with a big brush on the front. Big roller brush, and it brushes everything off the road back into the culvert. I saw that. My own eyes. I'm not making that up. I lived for a while in Ireland before all the money came, you know. It was a real rough and ready place. The fastest gig I ever had in my life was in Ireland. I mean, a gig that was put together at 2:30 in the afternoon, happened that night, and was successful. I don't think there's another place on the planet you could do that. So I still go there. It's like my second home. And a couple of years back, I was out in the west, a little town called Doolin. A lot of traditional music happening out there. A lot of people go there for that. That's what I was there for. And I woke up one morning, I was reading the local paper, and they had an article in there about a walk that people were doing to pay tribute to those that had fallen during the famine times. You know, the so-called potato famine. And what had happened during this walk, in the real one, you know, years ago, is that people had walked at the house of a wealthy landowner to ask for assistance in the starvation times. They had been turned away. They had had to go home. It was a stormy night. People had been blown off the cliff face onto the rocks below and had been killed. So it was a double tragedy. And all these years later, they were paying tribute to these people by recreating the route, a walk along the route that those people had taken. But what really got my attention was the Choctaw Indian people from America who were coming over to walk with them. And at first I thought, well, maybe this is just a show of solidarity or something. And then I stumbled across this story, which to me is one of the most wonderful human stories I've heard. I'll tell you a story. All good friends of mine are the heroes and survivors of a terrible time. Two great peoples separated by the sea, joined in understanding of a great calamity. Oh, great calamity. 1831, it was the darkest of their years. Andrew Jackson drove the Choctaw on the Trail of Tears with the saber and the rifle on a 1,000-mile drive to the land of Oklahoma. Only half would survive. Only half would survive. They called it reservation. It was a cage without a wire. While 100 years later, the Germans would admire, surrounded by a state that held the lock and key to the vision of their future and their free humanity. Oh, their free humanity. In the emerald Irish land, famine stalked the countryside with doom on every hand. Starvation, desperation, driven to extremes, they died eating grass, their mouths stained with green. Oh, their mouths stained with green. And it was the British Empire that held the lock and key to their island reservation and their free humanity. Across the hungry countryside, they walked the Trail of Tears. Through death and emigration, half the people disappeared. Half the people disappeared. News travels fast. It goes from hand to hand all across the mighty ocean to the Oklahoma land. And when the Choctaw heard the story of the Irish and their plight, they knew they were related, though their skins were red and white. Though their skins were red and white. And though their hands were nearly empty and their lands were nearly bare, they collected all the money that they thought that they could spare, and they sent it off to Ireland to their unknown new friends. $700, it was a fortune to them then. It was a fortune to them then. You may wonder at my story, you may marvel at his worth, but I tell you there is goodness in the people of the earth. And I tell you there is beauty in the darkest of the days, and a light to come shine and blow the darkness all away. Blow the darkness all away. I think a homeless man just came and put some money in my hand. And if he can do it, oops, I got a tuner, don't I?
Lucky you.
Huh?
Lucky you. You got a tuner right there.
I do. This song was written by Stephen Jesse Bernstein. I didn't know Stephen Jesse Bernstein until the last years of his life. I knew of him, but didn't know him. It turned out that we had been observing each other from a distance. It's one of those weird things. But we did become friends there toward the end. And he was a wonderful writer, and he was a great poet, a great person. Actually, he was a great person. We all have burdens to deal with, you know, and he had his, just like everybody else has theirs. So when we had a memorial, not a memorial, but an event after he passed away. There was an event down at the OK Hotel, you know, to kind of pay tribute to his life. You know, and everybody that knew him was supposed to go down there and do a piece of, you know, one of his works. So I got a hold of a couple of cassette tapes and stuff, and I listened. And I picked out this particular song. I really liked it. And I liked it so much, in fact, that I've been doing it ever since.
Hey Jim, will you do the song you wrote for Jesse?
Sure. But Jesse wrote this one. It's beautiful. It's called Somebody's Looking for Their Voice. That's that homeless man. I got to warm up my thumbs. I was flat picking for a while.
Strictly out front. Film crews, exam, they want to do. Nobody here? Anybody else need a beer? Sorry.
A child is practicing their music. A trumpet is too sloppy to be sure. Like someone's trying to get out of that building, but they're feeling nailed to the floor. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody's looking for their voice, to an open window with their supper on the stove. Now it's a sound you can hear out the street, humming and clapping out a beat, like someone whose life gives no reason, making up a reason of their own. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody's looking for their voice, to an open window with their supper on the stove. A man is shadow boxing in a doorway. With his eyes closed, I know he's gonna win. He's kicking the trash out of the way. He goes down, but he always comes back up again. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice, to an open window with their supper on the stove. And a woman is standing at the bus stop. She's yelling that the city is on fire. The cops come looking clumsy and disgusted. Everything they tell her, she says they are lying. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody's looking for their voice, to an open window with their supper on the stove. bus stop. The ruins that we leave may last forever, and though everything we say may be forgot, there's something that connects us like a river. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody's looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on the stove. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody's looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on the stove. Somebody's looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on the stove.
I don't know how this is supposed to go. It's 10 o'clock.
You want to take a break?
No.
Oh.
What I'm asking is, do other people want me to take a break?
No.
Because personally, just between me and you, I don't like breaks because you relax during the break and then you have to.
Tell everybody to relax right now. While you play and talk. It's okay. They don't have to like worry about walking over me to get a beer or go to the bathroom or...
Well, that actually is true.
That kind of stuff, you know.
That actually is true. There are certainly draw the line
I'm
at
just
certain.
saying, no, I live here. I'm just saying it feels a little stiff. Everyone should take it easy.
Yeah, do take it easy. We draw the line at certain things like chopping up furniture and like, well, I mean, you mentioned turning on and off the central water for the building in general.
Do that.
Huh?
No.
He said you could do that? Okay.
As long as, you don't, like, as long as no one feels uncomfortable, everything's fine. If someone feels uncomfortable, they should tell me or something.
So if something's bothering me, I can...
Yeah, lay it on me.
What if it's you?
That's good. I knew I might have scooted it in.
Nice.
And I did a good job.
Boom! I always got this. It was written that way. Okay. Written.
Oh, the sun goes up and the sun goes down, and all the many planets out spinning around, hanging on to a little green piece of ground. Everything is round. All around the lost and found, the tubular bells that make the tubular sound, down the rolling balls that go rolling around. Everything is round. You can find us out a straight line, you can try it if you may, but I guarantee that straight line is gonna turn around someday. Everything is round. Well, there's a crazy man beating on a big skin drum, and everybody waiting on the kingdom come. Well, every other kingdom just comes undone. Everything is round. Starting from the Mother Earth, learning what a circle's worth, returning to the place of birth, and everything is round. You can calculate the answer, you can call it MC squared, but if space and time are truly curved, then there are no squares out there. Everything is round. if God could speak, he'd have to say, forget about the judgment day. There's no straight and narrow anyway. Everything's round. Entropy and institution, a convoluted evolution, revolving every revolution. Everything is round. Everything is round. Everything is round. Everything. Johnny is marching home. When Johnny is marching home again. When Johnny is marching home again, well, I'll go out and welcome him. Never mind the shape he's in. And we'll ask him how the fighting went. We'll ask him how the fighting went. We'll ask him how the fighting went and how he likes the president. Casualties are an accident. And we'll beat our drums and wave our flags. We'll beat our drums and wave our flags. We'll beat our drums and wave our flags as great and grand and glorious rags. The ones they put on the body bags. And later on when the sickness comes, later on when the sickness comes, later on when the sickness comes from chemicals and uranium, we'll wring our hands and we'll all play dumb. Who did their part? The veterans who did their part. See the veterans who did their part and came back home with a purple heart, walking around with a shopping cart. Say, where are the legs that used to run? Where are the legs that used to run? Where are the legs that used to run before you went to carry a gun? Well, I'm afraid your dancing days are done. You have no arm, you have no leg. You have no arm, you have no leg. You have no arm, you have no leg. Your armless, legless, chickenless egg. Don't have to put you out with a bowl to beg. Kill the man, they'll kill us back. We'll kill the man, they'll kill us back. We'll kill the man, they'll kill us back. They say it's always been like that. Yeah, all for the banker and his money sack. So tip your hat and take a bow. Tip your hat and take a bow. Tip your hat and take a bow and get on with your life somehow. They're taking your little brother now. You loved your sweet country for all of your life. like your mother and father before you. The land runs deep, so deep in your blood, your flesh and your bone and your sinew. Descendants and ancestors deep as it goes, a relative circle as far as your eye. It can all be undone in the flash of an instant. Mechanical thunder that bruises the sky, bruises the sky. Goodbye to my relatives all of my life. Never again will I see. You won't have a name when they fly the big airplanes. Collateral damage is all you'll be, all you'll be. From a faraway place where the language is strange, they come with their angry machines, and the clouds rain a metal that hurts when it falls, and it shatters the ground, making everything scream. And the children run crippled, the old people hide, the babies are caught in the rubble debris. But the strangers don't know you, you are only a number, underreported on color TV. Color TV. Goodbye to my relatives all of my life. Never again will I see. You won't have a name when they fly the big airplanes. Collateral damage is all you'll be, all you'll be. A mother is more than a number to a baby who now has to grow up on its own. And a grandfather blinded and crippled at his age is more than just a statistical drone. All of these people are human, and humans are more than a footnote. This cynical language of killing is killing us, cut like a bone in humanity's throat. Humanity's throat. Goodbye to my relatives all of my life. Never again will I see. You won't have a name when they fly the big airplanes. Collateral damage is all you'll be, all you'll be. So if you see a ghost in the lonely wind blowing like shrapnel, the sound of the rain, and it's speaking a language you don't understand, yeah, but you know what it means just the same. Well, there's no time for innocence, all of that's over now. Don't say that you didn't know. When they come to collect for the damages owed, the collateral may be your own. Maybe your own. Goodbye to my relatives all of my life. Never again will I see. You won't have a name when they fly the big airplanes. Collateral damage is all